Assalamualaikum to Dr. Asri bin Saleh. Our group will like to present on the topic about ASEAN Charter. For introduction, the ASEAN Charter serves as a firm foundation in achieving the ASEAN community by providing legal status and institutional framework for ASEAN. It also codifies ASEAN norms, rules and values, set a clear target for ASEAN, and present accountability and compliance. The ASEAN Charter entered into the force on 15 December 2008. A gathering of the ASEAN foreign ministers was held at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta to make historical occasion for ASEAN. The ASEAN Charter has become a legal binding agreement among the 10 ASEAN member states. It will also be registered with the Secretariat of the Nation pursuant to Article 102, Paragraph 1 of the Charter of the Nation. The importance of the ASEAN Charter can be seen in the following contexts, such as new political commitment at the top level, new and enhanced commitment, new legal framework, legal personality, new ASEAN bodies, two new openly recruit DSG, more ASEAN meetings, more roles of ASEAN foreign ministers, new and enhanced role the the Secretary General of ASEAN, and other new initiatives and change.
Hi, my name is Claire. Today I would like to present about Asian Charter factors, issues or problems. The Asian Charter encounter is the diversity in terms of religion, language, ethnicity and culture. In Asian Charter there's a different government structures and it has different interpretation of human rights also, and then different understanding on natural man-made disaster. Even though they have differences in these 10 states in Asian Charter, still they can achieve remarkable achievement. And then the second issue is about implementation of agreement reached still at maximum level. This is about only 30% commitment made among Asian members implemented. This is based on a survey, and then no central mechanism to enforce the compliance, and as a result not properly functioning dispute settlement mechanism in economic and political form. Due to that, the rate of compliance have to be improved, otherwise Asian meetings and resolution will increasingly not be justifiable in the future. So the third issue is about great attention paid to small and medium-sized enterprises. This is where we can see Asian Charter focuses more on small-scale farmers and entrepreneurs, and then most of these small-scale farmers and entrepreneurs, if they want to succeed in the future, Asian economic community should provide more information and technical assistance to them. And then the next issues is about more connectivity between the Asian economic community and the other two pillars. The other two pillars is the political security community and the social cultural communities. Even though the economic community unable to sustain, without a strong political security framework and a robust social cultural underpinning. Okay, and then next issues is about lack sense of ownership of Asian among our population. Okay, as we can see, most Asian they do not like to identify themselves as an Asian, unlike the European Union. They like to identify themselves as an Europeans rather than their national identities. So more often, Asian people also do not participate in decision-making process, uh, and then they still regard the decision making as only a forum for policymakers and bureaucrats. Besides that, they don't have common foreign policy, don't have common economic policy, and don't have common security policy. This is due to the history of association and diversified political structures of each members of the Asian countries. Next issues is about lack of common policy, where lack of enforced policy can be seen as welcome to a non-rigidity within the organization, and their lack on putting on interest on the collective Asian individual members. Um, no principle, no principle as Asian comes first, and they didn't share feeling as Asian people, whether in politics and security. And the policymakers always seek independence over interdependence. This is the issue among the Asian charters. So next issues is about knowledge each other not enough among Asian country. Okay, this is where for example, okay, the whole wide world know who is the US president, rather than we in Asian region, we didn't notice, or we didn't know who is the Vietnam president, who is the Myanmar president, and etc. Because internal mass media based outside the region continues to be our main source of information, and not only the world but one another. So it is important to make effort in school to add more knowledge about Asian states, and must be implemented by giving more space and coverage in local media, especially in Asian region. Okay, and the last slide is the continued tension between rule-based communities. This one, it is an approach to create level of comfort within the grouping, has allowed driven cooperation and collaboration. So the ways Asian proclaims the importance of mutual respect, non-intervention, enables domestic affairs, and freedom from external interference. Meaning they don't bother on each other's issue, like they're taking on their own problem. They didn't want to cooperate because of the Asian ways, non-intervention, and non and freedom from external interference. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
I will present about the parties involved in the ASEAN Charter. Okay, there are 10 countries involved. Firstly is Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Laos, Indonesia, Cambodia, Brunei, Vietnam, Myanmar, and Philippines. ASEAN Regional Forum members These countries foster constructive dialogue and consultations on political and security issues on common interests and concerns, and they make significant contribution toward confidence building and preventive diplomacy in the Asian Pacific regions. Admissions of new members of ASEAN Charter. The procedure for applications and admissions in ASEAN should be prescribed by the ASEAN Coordinating Council. Admission should be based on the following criteria: location in the recognized geographical regions of Southeast Asia, recognition by the ASEAN member state, agreement to be bound and to abide by the Charter, ability and willingness to carry out the obligations of member. Admission should be decided by consensus by the ASEAN Summit upon the recommendations of the ASEAN Coordinating Council, and application stage should be admitted to ASEAN upon signing an instruments of accession to the Charter. Okay, there are four pillars of the ASEAN Economic Community. First is single market and production-based competitive economic regions, integration in globalized economy, equitable economic development. Uh, there are advantage and disadvantage of ASEAN Charter. Okay, first of all, we look about advantages. Firstly is eliminations of tariff between members, more access to goods, easier travel between regions, more job opportunity, greater political independence in regions, while disadvantages of ASEAN Charter are reduced tariff have negatively importance for Asian countries such as Thailand agriculture sector due to the greater number of imported agricultural goods. Second disadvantage are face the criticisms for not protecting small and medium enterprise and for being reluctant to promote human rights and democracy.
For recommendation, first is foster a common voice among ASEAN leaders. ASEAN will benefit if it can be developed the necessary foundation for more consistent articulation of shared view and develop an ASEAN common voice. The develop to develop a common understanding and approach of regional concern, it is important to make the decision among ASEAN ministers more focused, effective, and to be candid when need be. Sessions are already held among the ASEAN leaders, foreign ministers, and other key officials and policymakers. Closed-door dialogue have served to increase in understanding and trust. We can become more candid and focus on the ASEAN common voice if made more regular and be allotted more time. Secondly, to develop dispute settlement mechanism. Having a more robust dispute settlement mechanism to serve economic and trade dispute is not without some challenge, but we expect higher chance for success in this area, and by taking an incremental approach from what already exists. The notion of using sanctions and for handling dispute, political and security issues may be further ambitions for ASEAN, but will be controversial at the present. For the conclusion, the ASEAN Charter creates a framework within which ASEAN member states can enter into substantive agreement on specific areas such as economic integration, environmental protection and climate change, equitable development, transnational crime and ASEAN Charter will the nation and residents of ASEAN member states in many aspects of their life. While the effect may be indirect, they will nevertheless be tangible and profound.